What up, Instagram? I know that everybody's always searching for a hero. And for the ladies out there, I want to let you know that you can have my personal hero for 2020. My personal hero is Lorena Bobbitt. Why? Because she had a problem and she solved it. Yeah, what was happening? She was being abused by her husband. So what'd she do? She cut his dick off. Now, I don't know how she cut the dick off. I don't know if she dug around the meat, twisted it off like a turkey drumstick. I don't know if it was like a Gillette razor commercial, 15 blade smooth cut. I don't know. All I know is chippity chop happened and history changed. And that's why, with all due respect to Harriet Tubman, I think Lorena Bobbitt was robbed for that $20 bill. I really do. Have a good night.
You need me to turn it up louder?
Yeah, just turn it up just a little bit.
All right. Does this sound good?
Yes, that sounds perfect.
All right, cool.
All right, what it do? It's your girl Raya X with the Raya X Show, and today I have Valerie Vernale. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm great. I am so happy to have you on here right now. Like, I'm a little excited.
Yeah, dude. I'm happy that you asked.
Oh, thank you. I remember the experience that I had when I was at the Laughing Skull and I had seen you out there. I was just like, I was literally cracking up the whole entire time I was there.
Oh, I'm so happy. I was like so nervous for those shows because I've never been to that venue before.
Really?
Yeah, I was like real scared.
It didn't seem like it at all. Your energy was it seemed like you were very enthusiastic.
I mean, like once you get out there, and then you see that the crowd's cool, then you're like, okay, I can be myself.
Right.
And then you're good. But
so tell me a little bit about yourself. I hear you're actually from the Bay Area. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you're in Brooklyn. Am I right?
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up for you in the Bay Area?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I grew up like by the beach, by the zoo in San Francisco. So that's like, it's far away from downtown, you know what I mean? So like, it's a lot of like residential family area, but we still get into a little bit of trouble, like, into a little bit of trouble. But then you also had all the different neighborhoods with all their different stuff. And you could like check out like Castro and like basically get like, I think it's like a gay neighborhood, you know what I mean? So you're exposed to all that. And then you go downtown, you're exposed to everything downtown exposes you to. And, the Mission District for us was like, where all the Latinos are. And you go to Chinatown where all the Asians are. I mean, it was just really diverse. And you just kind of saw every kind of person. And nothing shocks me as a result. Like, we have people walking around with their balls out. You know what I mean? Just like straight up, just like, we're not wearing clothes today. Titties out, pussies out. Nothing phases me. So I'm just pretty accepting of everybody. It all. Yeah. I just, nothing phases me at all. So like, I'm really accepting of people and different cultures. And I think that's what growing up in the Bay gives you, you know what I mean? And it wasn't super gentrified when I was growing up. Okay. So like, you there was like a tight knit community of like people who were like born there, raised there and everything like that. So everybody had everybody's back growing up.
Okay. So it was like everybody treated each other as if they were family.
Yeah. Type. Like even if you weren't, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, are you from here? I'm from here. All right. We already got a baseline of like, we respect each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that's just how it is. The minute other people started moving in, it's like, oh shit. Oh shit, bro. Shit. now we really, really tighten it, now it's like, it's a badge of honor to be from the Bay. Cause so many people have had to leave.
Wow.
But it was a fun place to grow up. I don't know if I could have grown up anywhere else. Like, I live in New York, but I'm like, if I grew up here,
it would be a totally different lifestyle for you.
Oh man, I think I would have grown up too fast out here.
For real. Because I'm
it.
from New Jersey, so I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely know.
Yeah.
It's a totally different atmosphere.
Like, when you were growing up in New Jersey, would you come into New York a ton?
Yes.
Okay.
There'll be times where I go in and out of New York to Jersey because I like New York. I like being around all the people, but it's a little too crowded and busy for me.
Yeah. And it's a lot going on all the fucking time. All the time.
There's always something going on. There's never nothing going on in New York.
Yeah. Like, even on my block, like, somebody's blasting BB King right now. in a lightning storm. I'm like, you could have put your headphones in, but fuck it. It's the whole neighborhood's deal now. Okay.
Well, they be having hurricane parties and stuff.
No, I didn't know. Please tell me about a hurricane party.
Girl, they'll be it's no disrespect to white people, okay, but it's mostly white people, okay, that they throw hurricane parties, and they literally go meet up at a house or like a club, and they just chill there.
Okay. See, it's
like we're all gonna die together.
You know what? White people got all sorts of shit. I saw they had Rona parties when Rona was first out, and I'm just like, you know what? Like, why is it Black and brown people are the most affected? But like, y'all can have a party. You can have
y'all can have whatever y'all want.
Confetti, the whole nine. Whatever. We'll get ours. We'll get ours one day. You know what I mean? I believe that.
They do it mostly in Florida, though.
Yeah, well, Florida's a whole.
Florida's a whole different story.
I mean, I've dated dudes from Florida, and let me tell you, they're fun people to date, but they're challenging people to date, as well.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, some shit's just Florida shit, like just the culture.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
So is it? So do you like Brooklyn? How do you feel about Brooklyn?
I love it. I love where I live now. I'm in Crown Heights now. I was in Bushwick when I first moved to Brooklyn. I was in Bed-Stuy when I first moved to Brooklyn. Then I was in Bushwick. And then now I'm in Crown Heights. And I like Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights because it still has like a lot of its original vibe. You know what I mean? It's not completely all taken over. Bushwick is like completely taken over. Like that shit. I mean, but the thing is, like, I tell people, it's like it's right on top of each other. So it's like, yes, there's like the hipster woke yoga person.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're right on top of the projects. They're you know what I mean? Like they didn't get rid of no project shit. They just were like, oh, we just gonna put a little thing right next to here, and y'all figure it out together.
Y'all figure y'all shit out over there.
Yeah, it's just as long as the landlords are collecting checks, they don't give a fuck. They don't give
a rat's ass. As long as they're getting some money, they don't care.
They's like, look, we ain't cleaning up the roaches, and we're not cleaning nothing for you. You figure that out. That's gonna be a community project. You know what I mean? That's for y'all. But yeah, it's really cool out here. And I never moved to New York expecting to find a second home. I will say that.
Really?
And the longer I stay here, the more I feel like, okay, this could be a forever place. Right. Which was nothing. I came here, I was like, I broke up with my boyfriend.
There you go.
I was trying to get out of my parents' house. I was trying to like do my comedy shit. I was like,
you were trying to juggle so many things.
I was just, and I was like trying to deal with like, drinking too much and all this kind of shit. I was like, I'll leave everything behind. I'm coming for a little bit and I'll go back home, be fixed. And then I just been back. So,
so you just ended up growing a love for it.
Yeah. There's something about like, you just know, like, it's like Atlanta has got an energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you drop in there. It's just something different about this place. Same thing with Brooklyn. There's something different about this place. I went to New Orleans on my trip.
Really? How was that for you?
I loved it. I was like,
New Orleans is the place to be.
I was like, it's but the thing is everybody's drunk. The cops are drunk.
Everybody.
I was like, I went to a coffee shop. I just like, let me just get a coffee. And they were offering shots of Jameson in your fucking morning coffee.
I'm dead as fuck.
I was like with the croissants and I was like, and it was like multiple shot options. It wasn't just Jameson.
For real? Damn.
Yeah. And it was like only $1 more. So I was like, fucking, okay. I was like, between that and daiquiris, because I was like, fuck it, let me try some daiquiris.
Mm-hmm.
Girl.
Daiquiri had you spinning.
It was because you don't just have one. Because you're like, this tastes so good. This tastes so good.
I gotta have me another one.
Yeah, you're like, they don't put that much alcohol in it. I can't taste it. Therefore, it's not there. Next thing you know, you're yelling at somebody on the street, like,
Right.
no, you're not taking my friend. And they're like, I'm not trying to take your friend. I was actually robbed. And I go, oh, well, I can't help you. Yeah. Yeah, that happened, dude, in New Orleans. Somebody got robbed and I thought they were trying to like get us for our money. And then I started yelling and then I was like, that's daiquiri drunk.
Yes, because don't the daiquiri have what it got? It got rum, gin, vodka, Everclear. It got so many different types of liquor in it.
I didn't know the components.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
I didn't know there was a recipe involved. That's
They add all them little fruity little flavors just so you can keep on drinking it.
Yes. And then you wake up with the worst headache.
Oh no, yeah, I know that feeling. I'm not even gonna lie to you. There's this seafood place over here. It's called Crab Queens Atlanta. They sell daiquiris, and one daiquiri has you on your ass.
Yeah, yeah. You got to be economical with it.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Well, my podcast. So like I've done a couple of podcasts before with like guest host, and I always wanted to do one like just solo. Just me, just like rambling into a mic, just like freestyling into a mic, just talking about anything that comes to my head. And I was also like fascinated with, I get a lot of questions as a performer where people always like wonder, what is it like, you know, going up? Do you get nervous? What's the writing process like? All that. So I was like, this is my place to be able to talk about the passion of comedy, the little behind the scenes of comedy, the frustration of being a comedian, you know, and so it's just kind of a venue for all of that. And it's usually just like a half an hour episode because that's about as much as I can talk by myself.
Right. I understand. You know? Yeah.
But it for a little while, it did become a kind of like, because the George Floyd thing happened.
Right.
And so like I needed a space. I was like, I need a space where I can just vent these feelings and vent these experiences that I've had. And so it's become a little bit of everything for me. But I've taken a break from it for a little bit, but it will be back soon.
I'm glad. I've heard a few of them and I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's really good. Honestly, I think you should keep going. I love it.
Yeah, I was supposed to do 365 episodes and then I was going to rethink what the rest of them were going to be. Oh,
okay. So you were just trying to come up with like a different concept for it.
Yeah, just like see how this goes.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then people did give me good feedback. So I just kept going with it. But I'm like, maybe this can evolve into something else. But if people like the solo, fuck it, I'm going to keep with the solo.
You should. You really should. I fuck with it. It's dope. So tell me about what is the lifestyle like being a comedian?
It's different for different people. My lifestyle is I'm not self-sufficient with comedy yet. So it's a lot of taking on these kind of like shitty jobs. You know what I mean? Your cashier stuff, your server stuff, you know what I mean? That kind of thing to make ends meet. On top of, you know, ideally you want to get up as often as you can. So like when I was in San Francisco, I would work from like maybe like 6:30 to 3:30. And then I would go host an open mic from like 3:30 maybe like, I don't know, 5 to 8. And then if I had shows, I would go do the shows. So, and I would do that maybe like 5-6 nights a week. Not the open mic every night, but pretty much try to get up 6 nights a week and then do that shit and then get your little bit of sleep and then do that shit.
Wow. You're very busy. Do you ever have time for yourself? Like at any point in time?
Now I do. Now I'm better because I'm like about 5-6 years in. And like when you first start, it's just the grind. It's just grind. And then about the 3-year mark, I started getting really burnt out.
Yeah.
And that's when I started like turning to, you know, smoking cigarettes like crazy, drinking like crazy, eating shitty food, all that. And it wasn't until I moved to New York. And when you move to New York, you ain't shit. That's just the way it is. You gotta learn that real quick. You ain't shit and you're not the funniest person. And that's just the way it is. So you're not going to be able to do your grind the way you used to do it. So that I had to like really fucking deal with myself and like learn how to like.
You had to push yourself harder.
I had to learn, yeah, and I just also had to learn how to rest and just go. I can sit here and I can be mad about what's going on, or I can sit here and try to be proactive about self-care. And I'm not that great at it. You know what I mean?
No, I completely feel you on that.
Yeah.
I completely feel you on that. I do have difficulties trying to take care of myself and juggle everything else that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Because it feels like there's never, like, if I'm not doing something, then it's like, oh, I'm wasting this time. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm not constantly go, then I'm a failure. Then I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Then I'm seeing all these other people on the gram and I'm like, well, they posting.
That's that social media shit. That social media gets you. It get me too. I ain't even gonna lie.
Oh my God. And it just like fucks you up. So like learning for me, sometimes like I'll just delete Instagram off my phone for like a week or something, or like, and I'm like, that's a way to take back some time for myself. You know what I mean? Like I'll fucking start listening to new music. That's my new thing, is like, because I love music, but when it's like newer 2021 shit, I'm like,
you don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but now I'm like, oh no, there's some good fucking artists. And I'm some new shit. And I was like, you know, like that, like just finding those ways beyond just like, oh, I'm gonna take another nap because I'm depressed, you know.
Right.
And also just like engaging in like passions. That's the other thing that I think when you are involved in an art form, that thing can become your only thing.
Right.
For me, comedy, I told people
That's
was dating.
baby.
I was like, if you get in the way of comedy, I can't date you anymore. And now I look at that and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
I could really argue with that. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's more of the fact that you care about your craft.
I do.
You love what you do. You have a passion for it. So therefore you got to be selfish with certain things.
That's true. But I think also here's the thing. I just recently watched the Anthony Bourdain documentary.
Oh, okay.
And this Alvin Ailey documentary. And they're both geniuses in their own right. And obsessed with their careers. And when you look at the ends that they had, of that extraordinary loneliness and just no one to connect, you know what I mean? Like the reality of life is like, in my opinion, it's the people.
Yeah.
That's what's going to matter more than anything that you've ever done. Like it's the people in your world. You know what I mean? Like that's just it. You know, that's why we all look for love. That's why we're trying to have babies. That's why we're trying to, you know, that's why we do art, is for people. So it's you can't forget that as well. And it's like and again, like, you know, when you have like an addictive personality like I have, it's really easy to make one thing your thing. But if that doesn't work, then it's like we're gonna self-destruct.
I feel that 100%.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. Like comedy's still on, you know, it's in my top 5 things on the planet. It's just not. It's like 1A, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or 1B. You know, the people in my life are 1A now, and then comedy's 1B.
Comedy's 1B.
And I feel nervous saying that out loud because I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm not dedicated or da-da-da. But it's just like, to love a thing, you have to also know how to let a little bit of it go. Right. You know? So that's been a struggle. But yeah, the life of a comedian is mostly just, it's a lot of anxiety. It's a lot of running around. It's a lot of trying to figure out a way to pay for things, to pay for other things so that you can get time. You got to get a headshot. You got to figure out bio. A lot of it's flying by the seat of your pants. Yeah. Because there is no rule book for this, you know? No. Like me and my homegirl, we went around the country in a month.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you how that was for you.
Yo, it was one of the best moments in my life. Like I never thought I could ever do that, but also one of the most stressful.
Yeah, because you were on go like crazy. You had to travel to different states.
I mean, and we're going through states like Texas where people were like, yo, watch out, racism and shit. And I was like, you know, like that. I was like, whatever we do, we don't be looking nobody in the eyes and shit. Right. But it's hard to hide that you're from California and shit.
It's really hard.
When you walking around in tie-dye shirts and shit. And like, you know what I mean? Like, Like they know, like we can't hide ourselves, but nobody fucked with us. That was cool. But you know, it was incredible just seeing the fucking country. Like you forget how pretty this is. You're like, this is a really pretty place to just be. The people were all really nice. And I think like even especially the South was where we were the most afraid. And you're just like, Southerners are just people. And I forget that like I forget all the time. I'm like, oh, Black and brown people live in the South too. It's not just a bunch of,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not just like a bunch of like hicky white people that want to kill me. You know, there's people like me that are down there, and through comedy, it's easier to connect with those people. You know, So I would suggest it if you can, like if this shit goes away, because you don't want to be out here with this new Rona.
Yeah.
If you can travel this country, I would. You know, I definitely would. Yeah.
Right. What would you say what was your favorite state that you performed at during that tour?
Favorite state? I really liked Louisiana a lot. Like New Orleans was my favorite place. Denver, Colorado was also a place that was really, they love comedy there. Yeah. They don't have shit there other than the nuggets. The food's not good there. You can only drink one beer there. I mean, they don't really have much. So when you go there to perform, like that's what, like they're comedy people. So like Colorado was fun to and every show was always like pretty much packed out, and you know, they just appreciate the art. So that makes it so much more delicious. And Atlanta was fun, but girl, y'all shit was hot outside. We had some outdoor shows, and I was like, why are we? I'm sweating. I put on a jacket. That's how dumb I am. I was like, I'm trying to look cool in the pictures, right? I was like, let me put on my pleather jacket, my big girl pleather jacket I got. Mosquitoes ate the shit out of me, and I looked like a sweaty mess.
You was just not having it.
No. I wasn't having it. No one else was having it. But the second time going to Atlanta was when you saw me perform, and that was much more.
That was a much better experience because you were indoors and it was cool in there too.
Indoors, and I wasn't staying downtown because staying downtown was frustrating the first time.
It's a pain. It's real pain.
I was like, just a Ferris wheel down here? Like, this ain't fun. we need some more attractions. You know? Right. But yeah, so it was definitely, I'm trying to think of where else was really fun. I did a crazy open mic on top of a bar in Austin and was yelling about feminism and stuff. And the abortion bill. And, you know, everybody was like, she's crazy. But a lot of women came up to me and were like, we're so happy that you said all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? This has become one of the favorite places. I don't know if I'm going to come back to here, but this place in particular, that was fun. Yeah.
So, tell me about the, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce her name right. I think it's Sereni Weerasekera.
Sereni Weerasekera.
Okay. So tell me, how did you meet her?
We, so like she and I met maybe like 5 years ago, when I started. I think she was also doing comedy. She was going to UC Berkeley. And so we just saw each other in the scene. And then we just have stayed connected, and I've always respected her work. And she's always respected mine. So there was just a moment in the pandemic. I don't even remember the conversation. I just was like, yo, I'm thinking about traveling. I just was like, I really want to get out. And she was like, yo, bet, like, I've been thinking about it too. And so we linked up for this thing, and yeah, next thing you know, we were having Zoom meetings being like, I don't know, man, like, is this crazy? I don't know. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And then we just kept moving forward with the fear. And then eventually actually did it. I got to shout out to her because honestly, she did all the driving because I don't even have a license. So
Okay.
I had to be the best road dog of all time.
Right.
Or really fucking funny. Like that's that's what you got to do if you're not gonna be driving. So yeah, but couldn't have done it without her. And she's just so fucking dope and just so like fucking focused. It's like beautiful to be around a person like that, because a lot of female comics are like in it, but because they have so much more responsibility than the male comics, it's like they get pulled away from the craft a lot of the time and can't invest a ton into it. So when you got someone with you that's going as hard as you want to go, that's like inspiring, you know what I mean? So it was fun. It was fun being on the road with her. Yeah.
I'm glad that you had a good experience with her though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think also we are very similar minded in our anxiety. I don't know if you get a ton of anxiety.
I do.
Or if you and your homies, like when the homies link up, it's just like, I'm scared, you're scared, we're scared. What? Just like, oh fuck. So I think we both did a lot of work just trying to work out that stuff just so we could keep moving forward. But yeah, I wouldn't trade the experience for nothing, dude.
Right. So as far as comedy, how long did you well, not how long, but how old were you would say that you started getting into it? Were you young or?
Yeah, I read Dick Gregory's autobiography in like 7th, 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like, and he's like, one of the pioneers of stand-up. And I just had got that book because it's the N-word. That's the title. And I thought I'd be edgy if I had it in class and people saw me with it. Cause I went to a majority like Asian white school. And we had gone through this whole thing where like, we were reading some like Mark Twain shit and nobody wanted to say the N-word. And I was like, okay, all right. And I was rebellious as fuck. So I was like, let me bring this to class. And then I actually read the book and then I discovered his stand-up, and then that became the kind of thing that got the ball rolling for me to go, I think this is, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I want to do it.
Right.
And then I grew up with Chris Rock. Like Chris Rock's special came out when I was 12, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it. Whatever he's doing, I'm going to do. And then I didn't know if they were acting or not. You know what I mean? So like I got into acting when I was in high school. And then eventually down the road, people were like, no, they're doing like, this is what they're doing. And I don't know, through college, through everything. I didn't start stand up though until I was like 26.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, okay, you go to an open mic, you do a set, and then the rest is history type of thing.
Right. So what was your first experience like?
Doing stand up?
Yeah.
Oh man. I had like showed up late to the sign up, so they pushed me all the way to the end.
God damn.
Because usually like what they do at this one, they put the women up first because they're like, okay, there's not a lot of women, so we put them up first. I showed up like 5 minutes late, and they was like, no.
No, we're not having that. You're gonna have to
straight up male. Yeah. So you're going up. Oh, you got here at 6 o'clock. You going up at like 11 o'clock. That's just what's gonna happen.
Right.
And so it took me 3 months to even get up. I had like researched writing comedy and this, that, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, yeah, we gonna do it this month. And then when I was like, no, like, let me relax, let me chill. Like, I wish I still had those text threads I was sending everybody like, you think I should do it today? You think I should do it today? And they're just like, bitch, if you don't leave me the fuck alone about this. But I was super nervous. And then I went up and my friend was filming me and I was doing my thing.
Yeah.
And I remember forgetting my lines because I was memorizing it like I was doing acting.
Yeah.
The whole world stopped. The whole world stopped. The whole shit got slow-mo. I was like, I don't remember the line. Oh my God. And then someone was just like, you got it. And then once someone said, you got it, I was like, oh yeah. And then I did it. And then the guy who's hosting, Tony Sparks, who is a pillar of comedy in the Bay Area. He's like got everyone their start. He told me to keep coming back.
Yeah.
And that was like, if I didn't get that, I wouldn't be here. Like someone telling me like, yeah, you could do this. That's all I needed. Yeah.
You just needed a little pick me up.
That's it. Just a little encouragement. Because if I feel like I'm not good at something, I straight up burn it to the ground. I don't want to do it again. It's why I don't know how to ride a bicycle. It's why I haven't gone back to the DMV, you know, for my license. Like once you fail me, I'm done.
I ain't about to try it again.
Yeah. You should have gave me a pat on the back before you failed me. And then we can talk. But if it's just you just not going to succeed, it's just like I'm done.
I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have such an attitude. It's sad. I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to work on the inner shit, but it's hard. It's definitely hard.
What's your sign, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Virgo, and I know I'm difficult.
That's why. Okay. There's nothing wrong with Virgos. Virgos are cool.
It's like I'm Virgo with a Cancer rising and then a Pisces moon. So it's like
I gotcha.
It's a lot of emotions.
Exactly.
And then it's also just like
I don't give a fuck.
It's a lot. It's all together because a Virgo just by nature gives a fuck.
Yes.
Too many fucks. Mm-hmm. But a Pisces just doesn't know how to put all that shit together.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. I feel that. Oh my God. So tell me, name a wild experience that you've had.
Oh man.
You ain't want me to ask.
I was like, oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. What kind do you have a specific kind of wild experience you're looking for?
No, not exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You could just name whatever comes to your mind first.
I mean, I was thinking about this one time I met a Nazi in Portland, which I've tried to talk about this joke. Like, it's not like a joke that I do on stage. It's just, I just have this story where like, so like my homegirl, so I went to college in Portland for a little bit, right?
Right. Okay.
And the college campus I was on was super conservative. Mm-hmm. So we have to leave to go have fun. All right. So like my homegirl, my roommate at the time, her boyfriend was having like a party for her birthday. Mm-hmm. Now we walk into the apartment and I'm talking baggies of ecstasy.
Oh my God.
Baggies.
Oh my
baggies
God.
Of red pill, blue pill, old school ecstasy. You know what I mean? Old school, like one is cut with meth, one is cut with heroin. Like like it's, and these are white people. white peoples. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
And they were like putting them up their butts and stuff, like, because I guess it like hits you faster or something. I don't know.
Okay.
There were people cooking. There was a guy who was cooking mescaline on the stove.
What the hell?
I mean, people were just like mad drunk, mad high. I just was like, let me stick with weed and Pabst. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
So we're all doing that and they're just acting crazy and white and whatever. And then we hear this lady start screaming from the top of her lungs. She's screaming the N-word.
What the hell? Okay.
We go outside because you got to go outside if it's white people. You can't just stay indoors.
Nah, you can't.
We go outside and we see this chick and like I didn't know who she was, but like everybody else seemed to know who she was. And then there was a car with like 4 black guys in it. Now these 4 black guys were Ethiopian tweakers that used to come and clean the apartments. They used to like do meth and clean they would get paid to clean people's apartments. They were really good at it. Anyway, this is Portland, Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's got a baseball bat and is beating the fucking like lights and the mirrors off the car and shit. She's pissed about something. Nobody knows what she's pissed about. She's just yelling the N-word at the top of her lungs. I'm freaking out, but I'm also like high. So I'm like, chill.
Right.
And I turn and I see this arm. Like, you know how they have like the apartment railing going up to the other floor? Like I see an arm on the railing.
Yeah.
And that arm has a swastika on it. And I catch eyes with the dude with the swastika thing. And he just goes, "You're good." And I was like, "Whew, all right." And I was drunk, so I leaned into him and I just said, "Hey, I know why you got that." And he goes, "Why?" And I go, "Because if I got promised a lot of shit and I didn't get it, I'd be upset too." And then he laughed. And then that's like the Nazi story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't die that night, which is pretty
Which
amazing.
was the best part?
And that was his girlfriend, the chick who was beating
The
the shit out
chick
of the
that was
car.
doing all that. What? Oh no!
That was his girlfriend. He had just got out of prison and shit.
And she was doing all of that.
She was doing all that. They eventually drove off. She eventually went back up into the apartment. He eventually went back up to the apartment. We all went back into the apartment. And I passed out on a lazy boy and went to see another day. But that was a pretty wild.
Yeah, that sounds a little crazy.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how many wild experiences you've had. If I heard that.
I've lived a life, you know what I mean? Like I've walked in the middle of a knife fight before and I didn't know it. I was at a rave in high school and it was my first time trying ecstasy. And everybody was like, "Valerie, don't forget to drink water or you could die." And like, I'm like, that's not a way. You gotta tell me that shit before I take a thing.
Right.
You know, because I'm just over here enjoying Vicks Vapor Rub. Like that's all I'm doing with my life. And so I guess I walked out into a hallway and I noticed that people were standing on both sides, but I just was like, hey, like, I don't know if I was looking for the bathroom or some shit, but apparently I had walked in the middle of two people who had knives out ready to like fucking cut each other. You know,
wow.
I'm like Mr. Magoo. I just like walk into shit and somehow unscathed. The amount of people who've tried to fight me, but I start giggling when I'm nervous sometimes. But I start giggling, so they put their fist down. I mean, it's happened, you know. Yeah,
that's pretty wild. And you were high as hell too.
Yeah.
See that did that make you even more paranoid?
No. I just didn't know what was happening. They told me after. They were like, "Valerie, what the fuck are you doing? Like, they have knives." And I was like,
well.
"Oh, okay. Well, moving on." Like, I just bury the trauma. Like, it just doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. You wow.
I'm trying to be less wild as I get older.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, I get pulled back in. I'm trying to make better choices. You know, I tried to eat quinoa and lettuce and shit. You know.
You are funny as hell. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Oh, that's too funny. Have you ever been fired from a job before?
No. Actually,
never.
That's the one thing. I get almost fired, but almost fired, but I always quit before. I always make sure that like the thing is like when I have almost been fired from a job, it's usually because like something happens in my life, you know what I mean? Like a death in the family or depression or something like that. So that's why my performance falls off. But for the most part, no, I've never been like forcibly like, get the fuck out of here, you know, and which surprises people because
it surprised me. That's how I was just like, huh? I was surprised.
Oh my God, me working customer service. Ooh, you get like a good 20 minutes of my day where I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" And then after that, I'm like, "Bitch, what do you want? What do you need?" And people be fucking with you. They're like, "Excuse me, it's how are you?" And I'm like, "What would you like?" That's on my side of the block.
Right.
So, you know.
I feel like people expect too much doing customer service.
Because it's like, I'm not getting paid enough to do the emotional labor sometimes for people.
Right.
You know, and then they want to know all about me. And I'm like, it's 7:00 a.m. You know, like I had to take a train from Brooklyn to Midtown. None of these, you came to a salad spot and none of these people working at the salad spot washed the vegetables. So like, we're just all in a bad way at this spot. I'm sorry. like I am sorry. Yeah.
So what would you say be your top 5 people who inspired you?
Top 5 people. My first person that comes in my head is Michael Jackson, even though he's not a comedian, but that dude, I could watch his performances all day, all night. Like there's just something about it, really is magical. You know what I mean? Like it really is like something else. And like when I was growing up, that was just like such a source of escape for me, was just watching anything he put out. I would say Chris Rock is definitely huge. I would say Miles Davis. Again, I love music, so like Miles Davis, because Miles Davis was a no shit taking kind of person.
Yeah.
And when he was alive, that was a big kind of attitude. That's like dope to have that attitude.
Right.
Man, I feel like I should have more women, but Jimi Hendrix is always on my wall. Yeah. And one more, Whitney Houston, probably.
That's a good list.
Yeah. Whitney Houston she's a goddess.
She's point blank period. That's all you had to say for her.
Yeah. That's it. We'll just leave it there. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say, would you consider yourself an entertainer, or what would you put a label on yourself if you had to?
I guess I consider myself like writer performer is probably the most accurate, because everything that I do on stage I write myself. I don't have it's like some people do have writers, even at my level. Some people have writers. But it's important for me to have the writing thing there, because I think some people just think like, oh, we just naturally got it. It's like, no, like this takes like hard work.
Right.
I just don't consider myself a full-on entertainer, because I don't do, the full
nine.
Yeah, like I don't dance. You know what I mean? If I needed to, I'm sure I could cut a rug. I'm sure I could win an 8 count if you needed me to. And I don't sing in public anymore. Like, I mean, unless it's karaoke.
Yeah.
There's that, but I don't really sing anymore. So yeah, I'm not like a full-scale entertainer, but writer, performer, that's kind of, and podcaster, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of my thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you thought about doing in entertainment?
I've always wanted to write films. That's the thing that I actually just started delving into, because like film has always been a thing that I've been passionate about, because that's the thing that me and my family would like. I don't know if your family did this, where it's like you have movie nights. Yeah. And that's the only night that nobody fights. Nobody brings up old shit. It's just we gonna watch, Robert De Niro do his thing, and like we're gonna all enjoy that. So for me, film has always been a thing I loved. But I feel like that's where there's just not enough Black and brown female writers. That's just facts. And I just
that is like, true.
I think that's a place that the direction I would really like to go in, is to learn more about that and writing. I wrote a pilot during the pandemic and wrote a short film recently. So like, just trying to like delve into that and get passionate about that, because, and it's also just needed, I try to figure out like, where's the void in entertainment? We got plenty of people popping their pussies. we got plenty, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't need another big girl. Like we got Lizzo. We don't need a big girl showing her ass anymore. You got them all out here now. Meg Thee Stallion's got more booty than we need.
Right.
Boom. Bang. Take that off my list of things to do. Yeah. So writing is a thing that it's a dream that I always had, was just to be a writer. Because in my head I was like, yeah, you wake up, you smoke cigarettes all day, you type, you get paid. I was like, yes. That is the dream.
Right. So were there some people that you met along the way? Like some dope people you met along the way?
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing. That's with comedy in particular. You meet so many people. like just night in, night out, from audiences and audience members that are dope to the people who book it, to the people, you know, the venue owners. Like you just meet so many, like the list of dope people versus assholes I've met is too long. It's too long.
It's too long.
It's too long. Like there's so many people, because we get to perform with poets on, you know, so I've done like poetry shows, variety shows where it's like, you know, I did one show. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but they had these drag performers that were also, and it wasn't like your RuPaul's Drag Race. This was like drag, but also protest and also like social justice, like all combined. And like the shit that they were doing was so 2030. And you're just like, and it's just so inspiring to watch. And it's like, I never would have had access to this kind of thing if I wasn't doing comedy. Like that shit is dope. But you know, it's just too many people that I've met. Like even meeting you, like there was no way in a million years I would have known that like one of my audience members got a dope podcast and is a dope person. Like, you know what I mean? Like how would I have ever known?
Right.
You know.
So I forgot what I was just about to say. Lost train of thought. Oh, I got it. If somebody gave you just willy-nilly, just gave you $1 billion, right? What would be the first thing you do with it and why?
Oh man. I would probably pour a shit ton of that money into education. I feel like there's just too much fuck shit out here. And I think that you're just making the world more dangerous when you don't teach people how to learn correctly.
Right.
And when you don't teach people how to like vet information. Like I worry about, I know that there's like especially with the younger generations, they're savvy and stuff, but like it worries me, all these adults that are out here not being educated enough. Like definitely whether it's adult education or children's education, it's like I would do something with education with that money.
Right.
Pour it in there just so that we can all get up to speed, because there's a lot of problems we got to face and we need a lot of smart people. You know what I mean? And this education system that we have right now does a really great job of making people feel inadequate, in my opinion, and makes them feel, I don't know, helpless. You know what I mean? Like you can change a little, but not a lot. And I don't know, I would just pour it into anywhere that could, especially if it's like for women or girls or whoever, you know what I mean? I would find something in education to pour that into.
I love that response.
It just scares me, the amount of misinformation I see, and it scares me that, you know, especially now with COVID, where it's like a lot of people being homeschooled, a lot of people are, you know, and also like the state education, we went through it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I went to private schools and state schools, so it's like I can definitely see the difference in what people are taught, how they're taught, what people are missing, what people view as essential versus not essential. And I just think that that's the key to unlock a lot of the problems we have, is just education, and a more well-rounded education that's inclusive and isn't just trying to push some kind of capitalist agenda. Right. Now I'm going down a road, but you know, something with education I would probably spend mad money on. Yeah.
Right. What was I just about to say?
I would buy a pair of Louboutins. I ain't gonna lie.
A little pair of Louboutins?
I would buy a pair of Louboutin boots. I would give me a little something, you know what I mean? Like I give to the people, but I gotta give to myself, you know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna lie.
At least you're very honest.
Yeah. Just one pair.
You gotta treat yourself sometimes too, though.
Just one pair. That's it.
It's just
not a whole closet, not a Mariah Carey level.
Yeah, that I don't know how they do it. That's too much for me.
That bitch. I love me some Mariah Carey. I forgot to put her on the goddamn list. It's her and Whitney tied. But Mariah
I was named after her, actually.
Yeah. That's dope, because Mariah is a fucking boss bitch. Look, listen to her audiobook. It's crazy. She sings on it. Mariah Carey, and also because I'm biracial, Mariah Carey, for people like me, was like, when we saw her, we knew she was different, number one, and we were like, fuck. And she's mad talented, and she's getting accepted by the Black community. We were like, this is a lot. This is a lot for us. This is a big day. So Mariah Carey holds a special place in my heart, for sure.
Yeah, my mom was young when she had me, so her favorite artist was Mariah Carey, so she named me Mariah.
Yes. Love it.
What would you say? I forgot what the hell I was about to say. Lord, I done smoked before this podcast, and I'm like, I'm like all over the place right now.
This is me after mad coffee. Like, let me show you the coffee jug that I had. It was
not the coffee.
I drank like half of this.
Girl, I know you lying.
Because I was like, I've been out and about, and then taking, it's a lot. Taking naps, doing this, doing that.
It's just my mind just be all over the place every time I smoke.
No. Yeah.
So we were talking about the pandemic. How has the pandemic affected you?
When you were talking about like, how do you find time for yourself? Because the pandemic kind of took comedy away, stand-up away. That's when you really got to be with yourself and go, well, fuck, if I don't have this thing, then what do I have?
Right.
And so that's when I started going, okay, let's try the podcast, talking with myself by myself. Let's try writing a pilot and learning about screenwriting. Let's try to do some meditation. You don't really do metafucking. Let's, that, and even keeping in touch. Cause I'm one of those kinds of people that like, if I get depressed, I like to isolate and then I'll come back,
Right.
And when people are all scared about like, people living or dying and this, that, and the other, you can't just fall off the map.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to stay engaged. So like learning to keep in touch with people and learning that like people, like one way to show your love to people is by engaging with them and not thinking that you're bothering them all the time. That's a big thing I learned, because I always thought I was bothering people when I text them a lot or call them or whatever. And everybody's like, no, that's just one way of showing your love, that, we're on each other's minds. So that's what the pandemic gave me, was just a lot of time to really reevaluate what the fuck's important,
Right.
And take an honest look at yourself. That's the hardest shit about the pandemic. I don't know if you felt that way, but having to sit there and sit with some uncomfortable thoughts, you know what I mean? Like when you're not streaming, when you're not listening to music, when you're not beating off, when you're not smoking, when you know what I mean? When you're not doing nothing, all of a sudden it's like, yo, remember that one time I told that bitch she wasn't cute? Like I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you start thinking about the most fucked up ass shit you did and all that stuff.
Yeah, like maybe I should find her on Facebook and reach out and apologize. I'm not going to apologize, but I thought about it, and that's what matters. But yeah, definitely just thinking about my behavior in general and just like, how can I be a better Valerie if it's possible? That was a lot of the pandemic for me. Yeah. I'm still not at 100% where I should be. I still fuck up.
That's everybody though. Everybody fucks up.
Yeah, but as long as I think you have the intention to try and change, that's
all that matters.
Step in the right direction, So yeah, that's what the pandemic gave me for sure. Just refocus. Yeah.
So what's your advice for your young entrepreneurs?
I think the one thing that I see with a lot of people is this like insecurity of if their ideas are good enough and needing to get validation from every other person. You know what I mean? So like people will go, you know what, I got this idea. I don't know what you think about it. Da, da, da. You know what I mean? And they'll ask everybody else, but then shit won't get done. Right.
Right.
It's like, once you get the validation that your idea is good enough, then you're like, oh, well, that's all I needed. Like my thing is that the advice I would give is like, you got to learn how to self-validate and then also get an action plan together. Cause I've learned this the hard way of if you just sit there waiting, then you just gonna sit there waiting.
Right.
You know, you have to be proactive with your shit. So part of being proactive isn't just reaching out to people to be like, I have this idea. It's I have this idea and I need X. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like learning how to network in a way that's more productive than just sharing the idea. It's getting shit together to help you get your vision together, you know?
Right.
And also learning that you have something to offer. I think a lot of like people who I see that want to have these big ideas for business or whatever, part of what holds them back in networking is thinking they have nothing to give. And it's like, no, like you have information, you have services, you can offer something, you know what I mean? Like don't forget that,
Right.
you know, in this thing, because networking is the hardest thing I think in the art business.
Yeah.
And that's been the thing that's held me back a lot. Was I was like, oh well, I don't want to ask for a booking because I think that I'm not gonna do well if I do that, but I'll wait for someone to ask me for a booking. And you know, it's just stupid shit. It's like,
right,
it's just like, no, put yourself out there. If you
yeah,
know
you can't
got
wait
it.
for somebody to hand something out to you. You got to look for it.
Yeah, unless you're like, you know, a freak of nature, you know what I mean, a prodigy or something like then yeah. But most of us, it's just gonna be a shit ton of hard work, you know.
Mhm.
And also another thing, perfection. You got to get rid of the idea of perfection.
Right.
I think that's a huge one too, because perfection is the number one thing I see hold people back in everything. And I'm like, it's just a form of procrastination. It's just, which is just a sign of fear. And you just have to move forward with fear. Like that's just what you have to do.
Right.
You know.
So I have this might be a touchy subject for some people that are listening. So no offense to anybody. How do you feel about the fact that they are pushing sex on children? What do you think about that?
What do you mean pushing sex on children?
Like, damn, I didn't want to say his name, but I'm gonna say his name anyway. Okay. Lil Nas X. You seen Lil Nas X, right?
Yeah.
You remember his first song when he came out? It was the Old Town Road song, and then it transitioned into, I don't know if you've seen his newer songs.
Oh, the Montero and
and he was on Sesame Street and
yeah.
And I've also seen, now I don't want to just throw him in the boat. Yeah. I seen I grew up watching Blue's Clues. Okay. Yeah. It was like a little kid's cartoon, and they started having the little characters carrying pride flags.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. Can I be real? I don't have a problem with any of it. Yeah. I just don't, because like I said, I grew up in San Francisco. So it's like what you see in real life. We have the Folsom Street Fair, which is like a kink fair. And if you're a kid, you're gonna see people pissing on each other in the streets. I mean, that's a possibility for you. So the bar is different for me than it is for other people. I just know that like if I was growing up about like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, and I had a little Nas X, I probably would feel better about myself. You know, same thing with Lizzo. Like, I don't know if that's my kind of feminism with the G-string on the boat and, you know, clapping. Yeah. But if I was, you know, young and watching that and had those images, maybe my view of myself would have been different. You know, maybe I wouldn't have body dysmorphia the way I have it, because, you know, everybody had to be young and thin and white when I was growing up, you know? So like, I understand how people are alarmed by it, but for me, I don't see it as a bad thing. I think accepting those people into the foray and the fact that they are so bold and are themselves, that's a good thing. It's never going to be a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because you see all the people, whether it's like all these people who were the greats that came before us who had to hide shit. Whitney Houston had to hide her gayness. Right. If she was allowed to have come out and been that, like how would her trajectory have been different? Right. You know what I mean? If George Michael was able to have come out in the beginning of his career versus after he dealt with addiction and all that, how would his life have been different? So, you know, I don't see a problem with pride flags on children's shows. I mean, the reality is like trans people have always existed, gay people have always existed.
Right.
The fact that they're becoming mainstream and the fact that they can push back and still be popular and still make money, because that was always the concern, right? It was like, can't make money,
right?
Can't do that. You know what I mean? We still don't have enough gay rappers. We really don't. You know what I mean? Like just that representation matters. You know what I mean? Like we have trans models, but we don't have trans singers.
Right.
You know, like we have, you know, trans actors now that are more that's more at the forefront, but you know, whether it's any of it, you know what I mean? Even Native Americans are getting shows now. When in your life did you have a Native American sitcom?
That's
Never.
true.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm like, whatever direction this is going, I'm like, it's not going to look pretty right now, and it's going to be confusing. But the more we get, the better it'll become. I think. You know, I think, and I was always rebellious. You know what I mean? Like, so.
See, this is why I asked you, because I knew from what you told me, like where you grew up from, and it was just like there's two different outlooks to it.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be some angry parents.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at the parents and I'm just like, hey, you control what your kids watch. But at the same time, it's like, you can't hide them from the real world. Can't do that.
Not forever. like when I was growing up, we had like South Park, and that was a lot of cussing.
Yeah.
And my mom hated that shit. She hated it. But
Yeah.
it's like everything South Park was talking about was real talk.
100% true.
You know what I mean? That's why they're going into the 30th season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, it's just, there's two ways people can find this shit, right? Because like when I was growing up, if you wanted to find out about gay shit, you had to go through porn. That's how you learned about what gay was. You know what I mean? You had to learn through the internet or something like that. If I can just learn that being gay is on a spectrum from, we've got people like Ellen DeGeneres who kind of like present, you know, I guess on the more tame side, you know what I mean? And then you've got Lil Nas X, and you go, okay, there's a spectrum of what gay is, and it's not just waving a rainbow flag. It's also wearing a suit. It's also wearing leather stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like just seeing that variance, you know, same thing with Black people. Like you need to see more than just Kodak Black. You know what I mean? If Kodak Black was the only representation, I would be fucking mad.
Right.
I'd be like, he ain't, you know, even if Candace Owens isn't the only Black person, you know what I mean? Like we exist on a spectrum. So I just think it's kind of dope. And I just know that if I was young and I could be dancing to that Montero shit, I would have. I know I would have. If Lizzo would have been out when I was in 8th grade, bitch, I wouldn't have been wearing sweatpants and Jordans. I'd have been out here showing my arms. Like that's you know, it would have been a different life. So I love to see it.
I actually love to see that opinion, because at first I was just more of I thought about the parents, and then you can't hide them from the outside world. And I was more into that. And then now that you told me your opinion, now I can really see it. It's like, hey, is it really just representing sex, or is it showing that they're embracing themselves and who they are?
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable. And this is the thing that I realized the more I learn about boundary setting or just trying to be myself, it makes people uncomfortable when you're comfortable with you, because they're not comfortable with them. You know, like because I know trans comics, for example, I know lesbian comics, gay comics. And the one thing that I notice about them versus the straight comics, for example, is that they've had to go through a different road to find themselves.
Right.
So the things that they're hitting universally, the things that they've had to go through just to get up on the stage, before they even hit the stage, the journey that they had to go through to accept themselves. Once they get on stage, it ain't nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas the rest of us, we're not really doing the work. You know what I mean? But their life is the work. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I get why people get angry, because it's like, yeah, they've done the hard part of life, you know, and a lot of people aren't going to do that until they retire. You know what I mean? A lot of people ain't gonna do that shit till they ain't got nothing to fucking do, till the work gets taken from them. And then now you're really with yourself. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just can't be mad at people doing the thing that I wish I could do. You know, like I can't be jealous of these people.
I honestly needed that to be said.
Yeah.
I really do.
Just use them, you know, even, and they're younger than me too. That's the thing. Like, I think Lil Nas X is like 25, 24.
I think he's about that age. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm curious now.
Yeah,
I think he is actually.
He's young, and it's so incredible to see somebody that young go, we're doing it, no fear, you know?
Because I can see, like, from when he first came out, he was trying to hide that.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he had a lot of voices
in his ear telling him what he can and cannot do.
But now you look at, and he's a great example for entrepreneurs who are like unsure about themselves. It's like, no, like, trust yourself.
Right.
You know, trust that whatever's in you.
Oh, wow. He's younger than we thought.
23?
He's 22.
22. You know, like that's, you know, for somebody, you know, even for me, like I said, when I see that, because I get in my head about my comedy, because my comedy ain't for the faint of heart the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I've had a lot of crises about my comedy, about, am I saying the right things? Is it universal enough? Is this sellable? You know? But when I do the thing that I think other people want, it's never as good.
Right.
Ever. You know what I mean? It'll be all right. It'll be like, oh, okay. But when I do the thing that I want, that's very me, that's unequivocally Valerie, the energy of the room changes.
Right.
You know, and you have to live with you. So to, you know, any of these people, whether it's Lady Gaga, like I said, Meg Thee Stallion, any of these people owning their shit, it's a good thing. You know, even if it doesn't feel right all the time. Because like I said, sometimes I see Meg Thee Stallion, I'm like, yo, dude, like I can't tell if they're exploiting you at this point or if this is your empowerment.
Right.
You know, but if she's happy with it, I'm happy with it. You know, like, you know, it's taken a lot of thinking about it to get to this place, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say would be something that you can't absolutely live without?
Oh, wow. Ooh.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Well, name a few things then. Just a few things.
Moisturizer is on the top of the list. I can't live without moisturizer. Like, you know, here's the thing. I can live without it. I know I can, but nicotine has been my crutch for years and years and years. And it's just one of those things that, like, it's just in me. Like, that's it. Music. I can't live without music, specifically R&B. Without R&B.
90s R&B.
90s R&B. I'm liking the new R&B, like that Summer Walker shit, that Snow Allegra, that SZA is great. And you know, music for me, like that's such a huge part of my life. And then I mean, it would be very hard for me to live without comedy. It would be very hard. I could do it, but I don't want to.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a few things.
So would you say that R&B is your favorite genre of music? Would you say?
Yes. Okay. R&B, and then I love pop stuff. And then I love hip hop, you know what I mean? But I'm not like a hip hop head. Like, I can't start riddling off, oh, this is the best MC of all time. Like, I like Kanye. You know what I mean? Like, I like Kanye, new and old. Like, I've listened to, you know, Freddie Gibbs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I could dig it, you know. So yeah, like I do love all kinds of music. I do listen to rock, but like 90s rock is a lot of it, early 2000s rock, 70s stuff, anything from the 70s.
So you have a variety of types of music you listen to.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I was growing up, we had, I don't know if you remember this, the little, like, you could get the CDs for like 99 cents. And so we all scammed them, you know what I mean? So I listened to all sorts of shit, you know what I mean? And then my dad, you know, my dad and my mom, they kind of have similar tastes, but he would listen to a little bit more like Elton John and Phil
classics.
Collins and all that, but they both loved Motown. I've discovered disco, and then I discovered funk, then I discovered all the other stuff.
So you listen to different types of music depending on your mood, right?
Yeah, but I also can't. The only genre I can listen to for like an hour or longer without changing it is R&B.
Okay.
When it comes to
everything
else, I need a mix. Like if I'm gonna listen to like 3 rap songs, I need a rock song after. If I'm gonna listen to like 5 pop songs, I need like a really hardcore we murdering people rap song. like that's just like you know, like, okay, Dua Lipa, like this is great, but now I need some Tupac. Like I just have to like have a blend.
Transitions, some good transitions.
Yeah.
You basically need your own personal DJ.
Yeah, like my playlist is about 5 days long. Like that's it.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a concert?
Yeah. I don't go to a ton though, to be honest. I watch a lot of concerts on TV.
Yeah.
But my first concert was Mary J. Blige.
For real?
The No Drama tour. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so many people were smoking so much weed that there was just a cloud. And my mom took me. Mom, my Christian, once was a missionary mom, took me, and she was like, Valerie, don't sniff too hard. Because she knew it was weed. I didn't know at the time it was weed. I was so young. But Mary J. Blige was my first concert. And then I've seen Earth, Wind, and Fire in concert multiple times. With Chicago. And then I've seen Cher live. I've seen Elton John live.
Wow.
I've seen who else have I seen? I don't know, not that many people. And then just like little concerts where it's just like, you know, kind of free, you know. Yeah.
Are there any like dope artists you had started getting into now?
Well, Snow Allegra is my new favorite obsession. I love the lyrics. I love the music. I listened to her last album, and that's when I fell in love with her. And then this new album I've had on repeat. Summer Walker. Look.
You love her.
Because it's like, it's sad hoe music, and that's a new genre for me. Because it is. It's hoe music. It's like for the hoes. But hoes get sad too, you know? And that whole album's great. But it's really depressing.
It is.
And,
very.
Who else is like new? I don't know. I gotta kind of like look at this playlist. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, St. John, I do like.
Oh wow.
He's kind of Young Blue.
Oh, okay.
Young Blue's album is really good.
Wow, I'm surprised you said that, to be honest.
Yeah, her I love. Tyler, the Creator, is making really cool music now.
Oh man, Tyler's the GOAT.
Tyler's better now than he was. I mean, of course, that's how it is. But like, I liked him when he first came out. And I liked the comedy shit he was doing because he used to have a show.
Yeah, Loiter Squad.
So fucking funny.
That shit was hilarious.
So fucking funny. He's insanely talented.
Very.
Like, he's a genius. Like, I'm excited to see what he does.
And he was so young. Like, I don't know if you know this, but your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25.
Yeah.
So I think it just finally hit him.
Yeah.
And then that's where I think he just decided to just change what type of things he was into.
Yeah. I feel like my brain isn't fully developed yet. So like maybe 35 for me, you know, I'd have been through a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. 7 Streeter, by the way. I'm so glad she's getting her flowers right now.
Oh,
a little bit. 7 Streeter. That bitch is fine. I'm not a dude, but if I was, 7 would have to watch out. ASAP Ferg. I love what ASAP Ferg is doing now. I like him now more than I did back then.
Yeah.
Who else is on my Bryson Tiller, dude?
Yeah, I like Bryson Tiller. Yeah.
I don't love trap soul.
Yeah.
But he came out with like a couple of tracks and every feature. If there was someone that like could eventually take Chris Brown's title for best feature.
Oh,
because
you really gonna do that?
Because there's some songs with Bryson on it that like I'm listening to your song, but I'm waiting for Bryson. Like I don't know why they put him at the end of every fucking song. I'm just like I hear y'all, but like put more verses for him. And then Kiana Lead is good, and then where is this other person? Khalid I listen to, or Khalid, I don't remember how you
I like him. I like him.
And then there's one more person. Her. I mean, her is just consistent. She's just consistent of just like, oh, we gonna get guitars and we gonna get just good vocals. And
you know what it is with her for me? As soon as I hear her sing, my eyes start watering.
Well, she'll hold back. She'll hold back on the lyrics at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I was having a good day. I was having a good day. And then now I'm thinking about my ex. Like, what it is, her.
That's how she do. Yeah, she'll literally get you on this emotional roller coaster.
Did you listen to Jasmine Sullivan's album, Hotels?
No, I haven't yet.
Listen, Jasmine Sullivan did something with this last album. It's really good. Also, Ari Lennox and Queen Naija.
I like them.
Their little song was real cute. Yeah. So I've been. Yeah.
Oh, have you heard? What was the name of that group? It was with Camila Cabello. I forgot the name of the group though. There's this girl named Normani. Did you hear that song she did with Cardi B?
Did you see the video? Because I listened to the song. I listened to the song and I was like, all right, this song is cute. All right. And then when I watched the video, I was like, oh no, I like the song now. I like the song a lot more now that I have.
Why? Because you saw the video, right?
And I was like, damn, dude. I don't know how she walks down the street. I was like, that was a whole video.
Yeah.
It was a whole motherfucking video. I was impressed.
I honestly didn't expect those two to work together. That was so unexpected for me.
But Cardi B's been doing a lot of really great features.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because maybe she's got an album coming out soon or something. I don't know. I don't hate Cardi B as much as I used to.
I honestly believe, like, out of all the female rappers, she's the best out, right? Like mainstream. She's the best.
I'm still a Nicki fan, but like people get mad at me about Nicki.
Yeah, but I love Nicki, but she's the OG.
She is.
She's the OG in the rap game right now.
I do love Chika. I don't know if you know Chika. She's
that sounds Nigerian. Familiar.
That girl can sing and flow and lyrically is on point. I'm trying to think of this other chick. I don't know. I can't remember the female rappers' names because I don't listen to them as often, but I have a lot of my homegirls. We're all in our 30s and shit.
Yeah.
They be sending me like this real, like, they're like, I like this kind of feminism where it's like, take this nigga for his shit and
I don't know.
Show your titty. And I'm like, yeah, dude. So like, there's a lot of 30-year-old women listening to a lot of 20-somethings talking about all that shit. Meg Thee Stallion, like, I like her and I love what she does, but her raps for me, there's something about the beats that get chosen for her that I don't love. But there's an Amorphous remix of Savage. If you ever get a chance,
I want to hear it.
They do Savage, but it's to Mark Morrison's Return of the Mac.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
And the song is so much better because you can hear Megan.
I'm trying to think of that. I'm trying to like play that in my head, low key.
Yo, it's so like get high, go for a walk, and then play that version of Savage. You feel like the baddest bitch on the planet. You feel like the baddest bitch. Like I dare somebody to fucking stop me. I dare you. Dare.
When you hear that for real, that's how it makes you feel.
It just gives you so much attitude, and Beyonce sounds so good. You can just hear the girls more on the track. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Not that Savage is bad on its own. It just it kind of speeds up the tempo a little bit too, and you're just like grooving. I don't know. I love it.
What you thought about Beyonce's Lemonade album?
Here's the thing. I still haven't listened to all of Lemonade. Like top to bottom. Like I've listened to it in bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But I know the impact that it had. But I mean, I've grown up with Beyonce since Beyonce wasn't that hot. Like when she was always hot, but I remember, I've been alive for a long time, so I've seen all the iterations of Beyonce.
Right.
When like Aaliyah was the biggest thing on the planet, you know what I mean? When Ashanti could have been the next Beyonce, But yeah, I love anything that Beyonce's been doing, but Homecoming was like,
that was yeah.
I was like, there's no question. I don't even know.
I think it was that song. I forgot what song it was called. I think it's called Run the World.
Yeah, I didn't like that song, but I love that video.
Yeah, that's what I liked. It was, I like where she was trying to go with it.
Yeah, because I feel like that broke her out of just like regular R&B pop star, and it was like, okay, we're going into like a Michael Jackson pop direction.
Yeah,
I feel it. But I like how much blacker she is now. For me, when Formation came out, that's when I went, I am a Beyonce stan. Formation made me go, I'm a Beyonce stan forever. Like, I'm never saying jack shit about her again.
Right. You ain't gonna say not one bad comment about her.
We used to have debates about Beyonce. Now we don't debate about Beyonce. It's just, Beyonce. That's it. Formation made it on my playlist. If you make it on the playlist, I love you forever. Like, that's just the way it is. Yeah.
So you said you wanted to get into film, right? What would you say would be your top 5 films?
Okay.
Classics. Let's name some classics.
Some classics. Pulp Fiction.
Oh, yes. Yes.
There's this movie called Marty that it's from 1955. It's one of my favorite films. The Big Lebowski, I love. Do the Right Thing. And probably like Boys in the Hood. Like those are some great films. And I could keep going. I mean, films like I watch old shit with my dad. So like Touch of Evil and Citizen Kane. And, we watched anything Italian because my dad's Italian. So like all that Scorsese shit, Taxi Driver and one of my favorite movies is Dog Day Afternoon. Even though apparently they did a bad representation of the trans woman because it's based off a real life story, but they actually like did the trans person dirty in the film.
Oh wow!
But it is a great film. But anything from the 70s, to be honest, it was made in the 70s. I love it. Like it's just the way it is, And then
so you grew up on 70s movies,
70s stuff, 90s stuff, and then me and my dad will watch stuff that's like 50s, maybe 40s. 60s stuff, I don't think we really watch that much. I don't really watch stuff from the 80s that much. Yeah. But yeah, 90s stuff. Yeah. I was really into like Oscars growing up. So like anything with, that I'm like into. And I love also, we could do foreign films. I mean, like I'm just really into it. So it's like.
So you like indie films?
Indie films I love, foreign films I love. Anything that's like Pedro Almodovar. I love anything he does. Inarritu, love anything he does. There's a lot.
You got a whole list.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep going and going and going.
Yeah. But like, Do the Right Thing is probably, for most people that grew up in the 90s, was like one of the biggest landmark films of your life, because it's just so it's just so perfect. It's just such a perfect movie. Yeah, it still holds up.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long ago did that movie come out?
That was in 1989.
Oh, it's classic.
Yeah.
That hit the mark. That hit the 90s mark.
Yeah, I was born in 88, so.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I don't even remember when I saw it. I just remember going, I like all of this. Yeah. And I recently read the screenplay, and it's like, it's just as fun to read as it is to watch. So
yeah,
if you're ever interested in that, check it out.
I'm definitely going to check that out. So tell me, what's a word of advice that you have for people that are going through a rough time during this pandemic?
I think there's a lot to be said about patience, right? Like I have trouble being patient with myself and then being patient with other people, because I'm always like, if I'm not better today, then everything crumbles, right? And the reality of like trying to get well or to be well is it's a day by day. It's a day by day process, bit by bit, baby steps, that whole thing. And so once you learn that you don't have to get everything done in a day, where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I don't have to be happy today. I'm allowed to be sad today and be sad for today. And then tomorrow, you know what I mean? Get a little step closer to being a little less sad or something like that, you know?
Right.
But it's just a form of self-compassion to tell yourself like, hey, you don't have to do all this shit in one day. Like that's
right.
Yeah, that's the number one piece of advice I would give, is just be patient with yourself and be patient with this, because you know it's not just you. It's never just you. And I think so many people blame themselves for not being happy and blame themselves for not being fulfilled and all that shit. And it's like, you're living in a world that kind of doesn't want you to be.
Right.
So you're up against a lot. You know?
Right.
Give yourself a fucking break, because ain't nobody else gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
You know? So that would be my advice.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. It was amazing.
No, I
would love to actually come on to your show.
Yeah, for sure.
Whenever you get back on it, I would love to feature on your show.
Definitely. I would love to have you on, because I see the chakras behind you illuminated, and I want to know all about that. I want to know all about that. I want you to smoke a spliff and tell me all that.
We definitely can arrange that.
Okay.
Just whenever you're free, we can arrange that.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Well, it's your girl, Raya X, and I had Valerie Vernale.
All right.
Hey, have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night.
Miss Valerie Vernale! I was trying to call back to there. I'm tired, you know, like I'm just trying to I gotta be first. Like, give me more round of applause. Like, why are we? I'm drinking Snapple, if you didn't notice. Because I realized, me and drinking is if you have IBS and then you eat hot Cheetos and shit. You know what I mean? It sounds like an okay idea, and then 2 bags later, your asshole's on fire. It's just not a good idea. Here's the thing, it's fucked up because all this shit happens, and then you're like, oh, but I have a show on a Monday. Great. And then you're like, fuck, do we have to do a healing moment? Do we have to do a moment of silence to get over what's happened? White people, are you okay? Yeah. My dad buys me shit from Costco because he's retired and has nothing else to do. He does, he buys me, my whole closet right now is all, this is from Costco, these pants are from fucking Costco, and if I like one thing, he goes and gets it in every fucking color. So my life is awesome. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I just want to establish that. I just quit my job recently. Like, and it was a shitty job, so it's okay to whoop it up for that. It's food service. Any of you ever worked in food service? Oh my God. Like, I was one of those customers, like, before I worked in food service, like, that was like, you know what? I tip based on how I think you did. Like, if you didn't have a good Coke turnaround on my refill, $2. Now I'm like, fuck it, dude. You showed up to work, I'm making it rain on you. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. It was so shitty. And I was a cashier, a server, and a busser. Like, it's the fucking worst. Like, the cashiering is worse than anything because nobody thinks you're supposed to tip even though the option shows up every time they do a credit card thing. I had a dude one time who, like, I was like, oh yeah, don't forget you gotta, like, sign with your finger up here. And he goes, what's this say? No tip. I was like, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. I'm right here. I mean, I'm a human being. Fuck, I got you corned beef. Like, Pedro hates getting corned beef. Like, do you know what I've been through? Pedro, shut up. You just want corned beef. I don't know why Pedro's right here. It's like flashbacks, you know?